For the legal view on what may or may not happen, I want to bring in CNN legal analyst and former federal prosecutor Sunny Hostin, as well as Dan Schorr, a former prosecutor and investigator for Kroll, a risk management company. All right, so to the two of you, there were rumblings at the beginning that this might be under consideration, but I think it's critical to know, Dan, and you start, what does it mean to incite a riot? What exactly does the law dictate?
Well, you are encouraging people to commit unlawful acts, and there's usually a group of people that you're encouraging. On the surface, it appears like he's doing that. He's telling people to burn things, and people did do that. But the specter of the Ferguson police prosecuting Michael Brown's stepfather is very disturbing, and we have to look at the parents. Remember, the parents of Michael Brown, they were calling for peace, so they were saying very different things than you see Michael Brown's stepfather saying here.
And emotions aside, don't you have to have some kind of cause and then actual effect? I mean, don't they have to prove that the people he was actually saying it to went across the street and actually did set a fire somewhere?
I think that's right, and I'm sure that's what's under investigation. But I agree with Dan that this sort of specter that the prosecutor's office would prosecute this grieving stepfather who was clearly acting emotionally and in anger, not to condone what he said, is troubling. I think at this point it smells a bit vindictive. It smells a bit like malicious prosecution, if that were the case. And I think that the police department should be investigating other things, perhaps the corruption, perhaps the alleged corruption, perhaps the alleged brutality, some of the things that the Justice Department is looking into in terms of police practices. When you sort of pair what the Justice Department is doing and now this announcement by the police department in Missouri that they're investigating the stepfather, there's something that feels inappropriate about it.
Because clearly, I think there will be a lot of police who are very angry about what the police have had to go through. Clearly, there are a lot of people in the community who are very angry with what the community's gone through. But Dan, might there be those who said, I lost my life savings,
right.
I lost my business, I lost my car dealership. Why isn't anyone doing something about this?
Right, and that's important because people were damaged. There were innocent victims here who had nothing to do with this shooting by Officer Wilson, who were damaged here. So no matter who you're related to, you can't incite a riot. You can't encourage people to burn things down, and you would think you would then face criminal prosecution. Whether or not that's done, though, is a tough decision because...
Look, this man did not come there to plan and orchestrate some big riot. He was angry, he was upset. I think it's pretty obvious. But at the same time, is this a prosecutorial discretion, and wouldn't it be Robert McCullough who ultimately would have to make that decision?
And there is always prosecutorial discretion, right? I mean, we know that in terms of the death of Michael Brown, the prosecutor didn't have to go to the grand jury. The prosecutor could have just charged. And certainly in this kind of case, the prosecutor can just charge. And how will the prosecutor, given what has gone on in Ferguson, use that discretion? Again, having been a prosecutor, Dan, you were a prosecutor, I don't know that this is the right place to go in terms of using your discretion.
It's a sensitive issue for, I think, both. I've got more on this topic that I want to cover with both of you. Dan Schorr, Sunny Hostin, stick around.